Hello and welcome to a Movie Math special report where we're going to take a look at the overall box office for 2022. In 2019, 9 movies joined the $1 billion club, but then the pandemic hit. And it wasn't until 2021 that another movie was able to reach that important milestone for a blockbuster. Of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. This year, 3 movies got in. Hallelujah! Now, Disney and Universal are used to joining the $1 billion club, but it's been a while for Paramount. They're like, who, me? Oh, wow, thanks, everybody. You love me. You really love me. With Titanic and 2 Transformers movies, they're only other members. And of course, Tom Cruise joined the $1 billion club for the first time. A tougher feat for actors, actor-driven films, than, franchises that are used to just slam dunking it. It's a fine line, but you know what I'm talking about. Like Will Smith just recently managed to get in before his debacle, but it's unusual. So anyway, good for Tom Cruise. 2022 overall was a great year for Paramount. Really, the studio really came together, really gelled. They came in 3rd amongst the studios for the year domestic. I couldn't find a breakdown of the worldwide market share, so that's why we're looking at the domestic. I think a big part of Paramount's success this year was a varied slate where they tried a lot of different genres, and many of them ended up working. You say throw stuff up against the wall and see what sticks, but wow, how fun is it when everything sticks? Or almost everything. Babylon really made a horrible sound and then slid down to the bottom of the wall. The top three studios were actually a pretty tight race. I know that Disney, if you add Disney and Fox together, they're the top, but we're going to get to that. But Universal edged out Disney, if you just look at the studios, individually, thanks to Universal releasing far more films, including mid-range films. This is crucial. Universal released mid-range films, whereas Disney no longer does that. The 2 animation houses at Universal delivered, whereas Disney's did not, and Universal, of course, could lean on their super reliable Jurassic franchise. You could be a Jurassic hater, but it always delivers. It's great. I love those movies. It is worth noting, as I said, that if you put Disney and 20th Century together, they actually take first place. And Disney's animation houses, if they hadn't both imploded, they would have definitely, all on their own, they would have far outpaced the competition thanks to their huge IP, even without the mid-range movies. But speaking of mid-range movies, Disney has made the decision to still send some of their movies straight to Disney Plus because they're dominating in the streaming space. They're doing quite well. They're the only ones who've really been able to challenge Netflix. So Disney, before Disney Plus launched, they used to release 1 big movie almost every month, about 10 movies a year. But in 2022, for example, and I think this is also still partially due to the pandemic as well, though, but the Mouse really only released 5 movies, half of what they usually do. Like, for instance, when Disenchanted and Hocus Pocus 2 have gone to theaters pre-Disney Plus, and Turning Red, probably, and that would have increased their market share. Meanwhile, Universal has and also, I think that the clockwork going to Disney Plus after 30 days or so, well, sometimes 30 days, sometimes the longer window of about 45. But also I think that hurt some repeat business for Disney. But Universal has prioritized theatrical releases because they then send their movies to digital only, digital purchase or very high rental price. And then only after it's gone through the digital process of the high rental price, then the $6 rental price, only then, after all that is done, do they show up on Peacock, their streaming service. And it's been a very lucrative strategy. AT&T, when they were running Warner Bros., they tried the Disney strategy by really prioritizing HBO Max as well. But Warner Bros. Discovery has decided to switch to Universal's strategy, and I think it's working out pretty well for them as well. Warner Brothers Discovery, by the way, came in 4th, also low on films, thanks to running out of money at the end of the year and having to push back most of their final films. Like, for instance, Aquaman was supposed to have come out this year, and it could have, but now we have to wait a year. It's so ridiculous. Sony released a lot of films this year as well, but they had some big misses, and their big hits just couldn't make up for it. Over on the domestic top 10, Top Gun Maverick, like Spider-Man No Way Home last year, was able to deliver pre-pandemic level numbers. And in fact, Top Gun Maverick is domestically the 5th highest grossing film of all time. That is a beautiful big number, boy. But you can see from the rest of the top 10, where 167.8 million qualifies you for the domestic top 10 for the year, that the industry has still not recovered from the pandemic. In 2019, and also I think accelerated having to coexist with streaming, and that's why it's taking so long to recover, if they totally can recover. I don't think this is the new normal, but I think it's not going to go back to the way that it was. In 2019, by the way, another Dwayne Johnson movie just barely made the top 10 domestic, but it took a little over $300 million, nearly double, to do so. Of the top 10 domestic, Disney has 3, 4 if you count Avatar. Paramount, Universal, and Warner Bros. Take up the rest with 2 apiece. Sony didn't make the cut. The highest they got was Uncharted, also with Tom Holland, at number 12. Half this list is comic book movies. Wow, 2 animated movies, none from Disney Pixar though, and they're all franchises. Elvis is the only original film to come close at number 11. Nope, Smile, The Lost City, and Bullet Train are original non-franchise-esque films. Smile could be turned into a franchise, of course, but that they managed to make at least the top 20 domestic. On the worldwide chart, right now, Top Gun Maverick is still the top film of the year, but Avatar 2 will overtake it in a matter of days. Any day now. We'll probably be talking about it on Movie Math on Monday. Movie Math is on Monday because of the holiday this year, New Year's Day. Top Gun Maverick is an impressive accomplishment for Paramount and Cruise, and they're hoping to transfer Cruise's newfound expanded fandom over to his Mission Impossible franchise, which has surprisingly, despite its quality, such amazing movies, only posted moderate numbers to date for a blockbuster franchise of that caliber. Back in 2019, it took almost $800 million to make the worldwide top 10. This year, $460 million will get you on the list, with 2 films from China actually rounding out the top 10. But speaking of Hollywood getting back to normal, Universal surely feels good that its Jurassic and Despicable Me franchises can still deliver billion-dollar films or close to it. Just as Jimmy Cameron breathes a sigh of relief, he can still dominate. Someone was like, why are you disrespecting James Cameron by calling him Jimmy Cameron? Rip these people. What are you putting Jimmy Cameron up on a pedestal for, first of all? And second, it's a term of endearment. Jimmy Cameron should be glad I gave him a nickname. You guys all still remember Benny C. I'm helping Jimmy. All right, so anyway, it was such a funny comment. All right. Oh, excuse me, Sir James Cameron. All right, but Marvel, after both their 2019 movies joined the $1 billion club, 3 if you count Sony's Spider-Man entry that year, and last year, Spider-Man No Way Home came close to $2 billion. And then there was the pandemic in between. This year, none of Marvel's movies could get to the $1 billion club, despite things, I think, being relatively back to normal for good movies, and especially in franchise good movies. That's rough. But at least all 3 managed to make the worldwide top 10. As I said on Movie Math this past weekend, at this point, a Marvel movie needs to clear $800 million to perform as expected. So only Thor Love and Thunder falls short of expectations this year. Now, The Batman is right in line with Thor Love and Thunder, but it's at least a better start box office-wise than Batman Begins was to that trilogy. But not as strong as other recent Caped Crusader adventures, or Caped Crusader adjacent. Matt Reeves has an awful lot of demands for someone who couldn't crack $800 million with Batman, or get any major nominations so far. We'll see if the Oscar saves him. But it's unlikely with other blockbusters, Avatar 2, Top Gun Maverick, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever competing. But this is Warner Bros' only entry in the top 10, so Reeves does have that going for him. If you take out China's 2 entries, you can move up Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore, and Sonic 2 onto the list. But that's less a reflection of the quality of those films and more a statement of just how much Hollywood still has not yet recovered from the pandemic and I think streaming. Like Sonic 2, that's a fine movie. That's certainly in good shape. But they aren't making any more Fantastic Beasts movies, even though it's worldwide number 11. That's how bad number 11 is. Here, there are 4 comic book movies. On the worldwide chart, Black Adam only makes it to number 15. But Hollywood, who has come to fear the comic book movie coming for them like Video Killed the Radio Star, they have to feel good that all top 3 films, all the new $1 billion club members, are not comic book movies. So they got that going for them. So that's the overall 2022 box office, domestic, worldwide, and studio market share, domestic. Hollywood isn't back to regular strength just yet, but the pulse is growing stronger, and they're figuring out how to compete with streaming. They're working it out, and the streaming services, with the exception of Netflix, are of course their own, and Amazon, and those are both doing quite well. And both considering getting into the movie space, maybe. Netflix is just kind of like trolling the movie space with Glass Onion. But anyway, what do you think of the top movies, both domestic and worldwide? Share those thoughts and observations down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.